And so there's a strange irony in how to battle this problem. As males, as men, we're brought up with Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Vin Diesel, Bruce Willis, whoever it is, to fight, to get angry and sort out problems with anger, and to eliminate the problem, to go at it aggressively with violence and sort out the problem, and that's the the fast lane to loss, to destruction. We've actually got to, as men and as males, as fathers, we've got to adopt the feminine energy. We've got to out-feminine the females, and it's not out of the question. It might sound stupid because we're males, but not at all. These females are clearly demonstrating a lot of that masculine yang, aggressive energy, that divisive, the masculine energy of the rutting stags at springtime. Who's number one? Smash, smash, smash. Competitive. Yes, it's a narcissistic outlook. And so, if we get into that one-to-one battling, got to defeat her or the other parent. Maybe you're female and this applies too. Then that will get used against you. They'll just hold up a mirror and say, because you're flying off the handle with anger, rage, all these kind of things, then you're not fit to see your children. So it's a real double bind. It's such an insidious corner to find yourself in, that the most heart-wrenching, deepest crime against you, your children being robbed from you, and your reaction to that is then used against you as proof that you shouldn't have any access as a parent to see your children. So it's a horrible place. I've been in this since 2014 myself, 5 years or so, and I know the territory now. I understand how much suffering has to happen in silence because of the strategy, the show of it. If people see how infuriating it is to be robbed of your children without any evidence presented for you to defend yourself against, then the natural response is, to get cross and to fight. You look at any documentary, nature documentary, bears or wolves or whatever the animal is, you take away their cubs, you know what you're going to get. And it's exactly the same with humans. But that is used by these insidious family law courts as proof that they've done the right thing. So they manufacture the excuse by committing the crime. The excuse being, look, he's an angry man, keep his children away from him, when the reason he's an angry man is because he's had his children taken away from him. It's this whole crazy-making, gaslighting. It's very psychopathic, how these family laws operate. If you get into studying the psychology of psychopathy and then relate that on a macro scale to the family law courts, it's very, very similar. There's so many crossovers. Yeah, and so battling with the feminine, this is the rise of the feminine we're in, and whether you're male or female, if you're riding that wave of femininity, which is holistic, empathetic, accepting, forgiving, convivial, nurturing, all these very feminine words apply to parenting, and so we've got to battle for that position. We've got to emit and radiate the feminine energy more so than the other parent who's, in truth it should be quite easy because they're using children as weapons, psychologically afflicting children by denying them a loving and available parent, which is against their human rights. Perjury in court, defamation of character. There's so much truth-wise that we have on our side. So we have to find that grounded, centered place of steady, holistic understanding that we're in this process that won't last forever. We just have to hold fast, keep our nerve, stay cool, go through the recovery process, look after ourselves, nurture ourselves before we can nurture the children, and it's sure to come good. There's a quote from Gandhi, I think, where he talks about these empires that come up, and for a while they look invincible, and these, dictators and totalitarians seem like they've got the whole world at the beck and command, but they always fall, they always lose. And this family law situation, it's like that sort of old Celtic symbol of the serpent eating its tail, Ouroboros. It's self-destructive because it's consuming so many decent parents and families now that it can't maintain its concealment. And concealing is again another very psychopathic characteristic. And back in the 80s or whatever, where there were some very questionable parenting getting pulled into family law courts, and it seemed like it was a worthwhile operation to sever parents from children because of bad people. But now very decent, loving parents are getting chewed up through this awful system that they can't keep it under wraps any longer, and the time is ripe and rife for this to get overhauled and inverted to where it should be, in terms of the child actually being the priority, in terms of these shams of justice where it's a hog feeding trough of money through the child as a commodity, trading children, ransoming and holding them hostage from loving parents, the status of parenthood being bartered for, and weaponized by malice, through malice. And I feel very strongly that we're in this phase, this transitional phase, as the feminine gets to where it should be in terms of equality, that the female will appreciate how wrong they've got it in terms of the family law situations, that males can be very feminine in how they mother and nurture children. There isn't some sort of gender deficiency in males of motherhood. In fact, in a lot of respects, quite the opposite, that males are fabulous parents because they have those other qualities that females tend not to have. And there should be, a child should have lots of adult influences, regardless of gender, in their world, so that they can build their identity going forward as an adult, into becoming an adult, from lots of reference points. And for family law courts to remove loving and available parents against a child's human rights, these are abomination crimes, and we need to come together and overturn things.